The beast, the system, the beast, the man. In this video, we're going to talk about one of the great mysteries in Revelation chapter 13 about the beast as a system or multifaceted beast, and then the son of perdition. Revelation chapter 13 and 17 describe this to us. There's actually two beasts, which you can see. The first beast rises out of the sea, and it has the lion, leopard, bear, and the dragon gives its power. And we have these details, and out of it comes, there's 10 horns, and out of the horns comes one of the horns. Now, this is a previous video, which I really encourage you to watch, on the 10 horns in the whole beast system. And I know many of you are caught up in the election and what's going on. You have to exhibit a lot of patience, guys. Donald Trump is the Antichrist. He is the little horn of Daniel chapter 7. That's why his name actually means trumpet and horn. So the name of the Antichrist would be his actual name. So Trump means trumpet, and a trumpet is a horn. So nothing has changed, okay? Keep in mind that in the Israeli politics over the last couple of years, Benjamin Netanyahu has had this back and forth, the different elections. And now we're going to have some similar things going on where it's like this, oh, he's down. It's like Rocky, he's down, he's back up. But you know, nothing has changed. Donald Trump is the Antichrist. He began his 42 months back in August last year. And notice how he is orange looking. In this photo, you can see someone basically drew the scarlet colored beast of Revelation chapter 17. So the woman rides a scarlet colored beast. Okay, so Donald Trump has this orange hue to him to make himself look like this scarlet-colored red beast. But in this video, we're talking about the beast, the system, and the beast, the man. The beast system. Now, the beast system is something that we can see throughout Daniel and Revelation. So what you see here is actually a summary of it all. But basically, Daniel 2, 7, in Revelation 13, Daniel 8, as well as Revelation 17, all kind of give us the details and characteristics of the beast. And this is something you cannot identify with one country or one place. Okay, there are 7 mountains. There are different aspects that are gold, silver, brass, iron. Okay, the lion, bear, leopard, terrible beast. Okay, these represent ancient empires, okay? And the ancient empires had beasts that influenced them. We know that from Daniel because he was in the transition of the Persian into the Greek. He describes that, okay? So there are different beasts that influence each one. So you can't say that the Antichrist or the Revelation 13 beast is only Rome. No, it has a lion, which is Babylon, as a bear is Persia, and leopard is Greece. And the terrible beast representing Rome. And these relate to the image in Daniel chapter 2, okay? Gold head, silver chest and arms, bronze waist, iron legs. Those characteristics we see in Daniel 7 has a king. He is like a lion, a leopard, a terrible beast, and a bear. Well, the lion has teeth of a lion in Revelation 13, a body of a leopard. The dragon gives its seat like the terrible beast and has feet of a bear, just like Daniel 7. So everything works in perfect unity, and you can see how all these things connect perfectly. So, for example, Mystery Babylon sits on 7 mountains, okay? So it's not just one place. So this is really important for us to identify when we begin to think about the beast as a individual. So it would appear like this individual is smart enough to run all this, but that's not the case. There's a system that's influencing all this, the 10 horns, the 10 kings, okay? So in this one, let's look at the beast system versus beast, the man. Now, when we talk about a system, basically what we're saying is that there's different types of beasts, different types of characteristics, but when we look at each one of them, we can actually see a kind of cohesive similarity thing, okay, that they all have these characteristics. So, for example, in Revelation 12, you have the great red dragon, Okay, I saw a wonder in heaven, a great red dragon. Okay, so this is something in the air or in the heavens. Okay, so the great red dragon comes. He has 7 heads. He has 10 horns and 7 crowns. Okay? Then in Revelation 13, we see the beast come out of the sea. This is called the first beast. And he has the characteristics of a leopard, a bear, and a lion. And he has 7 heads, 10 horns, and 10 crowns. So what this means is that the heads are the same, the horns are the same, but the crowns means that those that are the 7 heads are crowned. And then what this means is that the 10 horns are crowned at this point. Okay, so the 7 heads are crowned in Revelation 12, and the 10 horns are crowned in Revelation 13. Now, we also have a beast in Revelation 13, like a lamb. He had 2 horns. He has 2 horns, not 10 horns. He has 2 horns like a lamb, and he spoke as a dragon. So that's another beast. Now, he comes from the earth. So what you can see is that you have a beast in the air, a beast in the sea, a beast in the earth, and another beast in the wilderness. Okay? So the beast in the wilderness is the scarlet color beast, which goes into perdition. Now, as well, the scarlet color beast also has 7 heads and 10 horns. So, when we look at all of these, you can see all of them have the same characteristics with a couple differences. When they're crowned and the number of horns in the lamb that spoke as a dragon. Then Revelation 13:3 says, I saw one of the heads. Okay, so in Revelation 13 you have the first beast, and you have the description of the first beast with the 7 heads, and what? One of the heads. So this means that this is not the whole beast. Now it's talking about one of the heads, and he opened his mouth. So before we could see a system, okay, the dragon is like the system, the first beast like the system, and the part of the system is the lamb that spoke as a dragon. And then in the wilderness is the scarlet colored beast. Okay, now you can see that he goes into perdition. So this is a man. This is that person. That's why he doesn't have crowns, because he is the 7th crown. Okay? And he becomes the 8th. So we see this in Revelation 17. When John went in the spirit in the wilderness, I saw a woman sit upon a scarlet-colored beast, full of names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns. Okay, so he has 7 heads and 10 horns. The reason being is he comes from the heads and he comes from the horns when we go to Daniel. Okay, but this is one that goes into perdition. So Revelation 17:8, it says he goes into perdition. Now this is 2 Thessalonians 2:3, the son of perdition. Okay, so the son of the perdition is a man. This is the beast like a man. This is not the beast whole system. This is the individual person that the beast is raising as the son of perdition. Now, of course, what it says in Revelation 17, verse 9, it says their 7 heads are 7 mountains. Okay? So the 7 mountains is what we showed you before. The 7 mountains, Egypt, Asher, Elam, Meshech, Tubal, Edom, Zidon. You see that in Ezekiel chapter 32. Okay? So what we're getting at is that the different heads of those 7 heads, the woman sits on these 7 mountains, but one of them will be where the beast comes from. Okay, he's one of the. Let me get it on the screen again. One of the heads. Okay, so he's one of the heads, and that is he becomes the 8th. The beast that is not, even he is the 8th. Okay, the 8th king. He's of the 7, and he goes into perdition. All right, so remember there were 7 heads, and this one is the eighth king, and he goes into perdition. This is the son of perdition. This is what people typically call the Antichrist. Now, when we go to Daniel, let's go to Daniel, and let's look at Daniel chapter 7, and look at verse 7. Because there are four beasts. Prior to that, there was a beast like a lion, there was a beast like a bear, there was a beast like a leopard, and we get the fourth beast, which is dreadful, terrible, exceedingly. It devoured and broke in pieces and stamped by the residue in it, and is diverse from all the beasts before it, and it had, what, 10 horns. Okay, so now we got 10 horns, just like the beast of Revelation. All right, and remember that the Antichrist came, he was one of the heads. Well, in Daniel, he becomes one of the horns. And I considered the horns, and I beheld, and there came among them a little horn. Okay, that's why we showed you the picture of Trump as a horn. His mouth is a horn, because he is the Antichrist. He is the little horn. He is this trumpet. And in this horn were eyes like the eyes of a man. Okay, so this is a man. This is an individual person that it's talking about. In this horn has eyes like a man, and a mouth speaking great things. Well, this is the blasphemy we saw in Revelation 13, verse 5, and 17, verse 3. He had the names of blasphemy. And the voice of the great words which the horn spoke. I beheld until the beast was slain, his body was destroyed, and given into burning fire. Now, let's take a moment and consider Daniel chapter 7 and these verses here. Verses 11 and 12. So he had the voice of the great words which the horn spake, and I beheld until the beast. Well, what beast? I beheld until the beast. So both the first beast of Revelation chapter 13 and the scarlet colored beast are called the beast. So quite often in Revelation and in Daniel, you just have a beast. But it's difficult because what beast is that? Okay? Now, what it says, I heard the voice of the great words which the horn spake. Okay, so this is alluding to the horn. This is the individual person. I beheld until the beast was slain, and his body was destroyed and given into burning flame. Then what it says the rest of the beast, their dominion was taken, but their lives were prolonged for a season and a time. Now, what's going on here? Well, it's talking about the voice of the great words of the horn spake. So this is the little horn. This is the son of perdition. And then you have a beast that is slain, his body destroyed in burning flame. But the rest of the beasts had their dominion, and their lives were prolonged for a season and time. We consider the season and time to be 1.5 years. So what this means is that our timeline is right, because the Antichrist, the son of perdition, would die prior to Armageddon. Yes. So what this is saying is that beast is, his body is destroyed, he dies, he goes in the flaming fire, he goes in the lake of fire prior to Armageddon. Okay? Now we can prove this by going to Revelation chapter 19, and it talks about the beast, the kings of the earth, and the armies were gathered together to make war against him that sat upon the white horse and his army. So this is the beast. Now, what beast? All right. Well, we consider that to be the beast system, or the beast with all the other characteristics that we saw before of the lion, the bear, the terrible beast with 7 heads and 10 horns and 10 crowns, etc. All right. So that's that beast. And the kings of the earth gathered together to make war against him that sat upon the white horse and his army. And that beast and the false prophet both were cast alive into the lake of fire. So the 1.5 years prior to Armageddon, all right, is when the other beast, the son of perdition, is slain and cast into burning flame. Okay? Now, in our graphic here, we know the tribulation or apocalypse is 14 years. So you have 7 good years, 7 bad years, and the 7 bad years, 8 through 14, we are presently in. of those, we know that the Antichrist is killed by the book of Esther, where Haman is the son of perdition. He dies in the 12th year. This is the 12th year, and at the end of the 12th year, Purim is in the 12th month, and the Antichrist dies as Haman, as a type of Haman in the book of Esther. So that's a precise date of the 14th, 15th day of the 12th month in the 12th year. So what we did is once we realized that, we went back 14 months, and we went back 14 months to the precise date the Antichrist begins the 42 months, and that's when Donald Trump called himself the Chosen One. All right, that was 2019. So in August 2019 began the 42 months, and that goes where he's killed. Now, let's remember in Daniel what it said. It said the other beasts, okay, so the other beasts in Revelation, the false prophet, they had their time for a year or a season and a time. So a season and a time, we look at that like a season is 6 months and then a time. So that would bring us to Armageddon. Armageddon is at the end of the 14th year. Okay? So that shows us that our graphic and our timeline is right, where we have where the Antichrist is killed, and then where the beast and the false prophet is killed, taken to the lake of fire in Armageddon. Now, we also have the concept in Hosea chapter 13 of the system in the man. Now, in Hosea chapter 13, we again see the lion, the leopard, the bear, and the wild beast or terrible beast. Okay, so you can see he will be as a lion, as a leopard by the way to observe them, to meet them as a bear that is bereaved and devour. As a lion, the wild beast shall tear them. So this, of course, is the first beast in Revelation, the beast that came out of the sea. It has all these characteristics and details. Okay. Now, we're calling that a system because you cannot identify it to a country, individual person. This is the force that is influencing the whole world. Now, if you don't realize that, now you do. Okay? If you didn't realize that before in the prophecy, now you have this virus, and basically that is dominating the whole earth. Showing that everybody is influenced by the same force in order to deal with this, all right? But then what it says is, actually in one of the verse prior, it says, Yahweh says, I will be your king. But they said, give me a king and princes. And this is exactly what's going on with the election. The people want a king, the people want a senate, right, to save them. It's not going to happen. Verse 11, I gave them a king in my anger, and I took him away in my wrath. So, obviously what you have is you have these details again. Lion is Babylon. Okay, leopard is Greece. Bear is Persia. Wild beast is Rome. Okay, so those are the ancient empires that influenced and dominated the whole known world at that time, the Middle East, okay? But all of those same forces are influencing powers today, okay? And then the people give me a king, and the people want the Antichrist, basically. And that's basically what you have in America. They want the Antichrist, and God says, okay, I'll give you the Antichrist. So I gave them a king, the Antichrist, in my anger, and I took him away in my wrath. I am Yahweh Elohim, the Lord your God. There is no Savior beside me. Okay, so that is why all of these things must happen first and be revealed first. Where we have the son of perdition is revealed. You would have all these things leading that they will make war against, okay, the one on the white horse. Okay, he sat on the white horse in Revelation 19. All right, and this terrible beast, and from this terrible beast has 10 horns, and out of those horns comes a little horn, which is a man. Okay, so you can see that in the prophecy there is a man, and you can see that there is a invisible beast. Okay, so you got the invisible beast And you got the beast coming out of a man, his mouth speaking great things. He comes out of one of the heads in Revelation. He comes one of the horns in Daniel. Okay, so I hope this is helpful. Definitely get these notes. Once you see this and you see it mapped out this way, it begins to make more sense. Okay, and that way we're not deceived, guys, by focusing on the just one thing, just America, just the Vatican, just the Middle East. It's important that you realize that all of it is the beast. As believers in Jesus Christ, we don't have a savior in any of that stuff. All that stuff is out to kill us. So that is the war. We do have a playlist on the war. But let's sit down and talk about the election. So I know what many of you are thinking, okay, Leland, that's great, but what if Donald Trump doesn't win the election? What about this? What about that? Guys, we have to be very patient with the prophecy. And I just encourage you at this time. I know it's difficult. You watch videos on YouTube. You watch, this guy, Leland Jones. He says Donald Trump is the Antichrist. You go around telling people Donald Trump's the Antichrist. The people saying, no, Biden's going to win the election. So, guys, this is why we do videos like this. So we can, educate ourselves. We can give, people intelligent answers. We can understand what's going on. Because we are in the end of days. And it's important for us to realize that there's a system. That's why we have videos like this. You can see a whole system in operation, totally working, controlling over the whole globe. Okay, it's not just one country. Just as you've seen this virus, it's just not one country. Now you can see the apocalypse happening. And we have extraordinary things going on all the time. But how do we know what they are? What do these things mean? How do we identify the prophecy? That's why we do teachings like this, so we can understand a whole beast, all right? The beast controls both sides, red, blue, east, west, okay? It's behind all of it, leading to Armageddon, but also leading to the fact that in Revelation, you have one of the 7 heads, okay? So that's only part of the beast there, right? And we have one of the 10 horns in Daniel chapter 7. So you have a beast, okay, lion, leopard, bear, terrible beast, which is ruling the whole earth, which is representative. All the ancient empires are now converging in different places, okay? That's why you can't be caught up in just one place, okay? The Vatican is Mystery Babylon, Turkey is the beast, America is the beast, it's all of it, okay? There's no running from it. Now, there's a war going on, and you have to identify the enemy in order to understand the war. That's why we do teachings like this, okay? So be patient. Now, what's going to happen is similar things that we saw in Israel with the elections. Is he going to win, and is he not? It seems impossible circumstances, okay? And it's all simulating a antichrist spirit. So Christ went through and he suffered and he died for our sins. Okay. Well, the Antichrist is going to do similar things. It's going to look like he's suffering. It's like he's losing, just like we saw when he got the virus. So he got the virus. He got it on Friday. He resurrected. He simulated this revival. The peace deal? We saw the virus also following major eclipses. Okay. Now, we have another sign, we have another prophetic date, the 4th day of the 9th month, which is mid-November. Okay, I think it's mid-November. And that also a rate, we can see it in Zechariah chapter 7, is it? I'll put a note for this, okay? I'm not saying exactly what this is or what this means. It's just something we're watching for. All right, and so these are things that are coming up very soon. Very significant prophetic dates in the calendar of things, okay? And so we're just going to have to be patient. Sure, we wanted to see a result on the election night. That would have been great, but that's not how this is going, okay? There was never a clear result, and there still isn't really with the Benjamin Netanyahu in the elections in Israel going on for like a year and a half or whatever. Those are going back and forth, back and forth. And the politics will drive you crazy, guys. The details of this will drive you crazy. The beast is just stirring up absolutely madness. And we don't want to be caught up in beast worship. Okay? Even if you're even if you're just, you know Donald Trump is the Antichrist, you know it's the beast, but if all your attention is focused on the beast, that's worship the beast. That's worshiping the beast. We don't want to be worshiping. We don't want to be caught up in what the beast is doing, and it's all nonsense. It's all lies. The same thing as over all this stuff. We want to be worshiping the Lamb, okay? We want to be preparing for His coming, okay? And in preparing for His coming, we have to understand the days that we're living in. That's why we have teaching videos like this, where we talk about these things, talk about what this stuff means, you know, how we must repent, we must turn, we must understand, okay, these days and these times, okay? So this is part of a couple playlists that I really encourage you to watch. The intro video on the first beast of Revelation. The first beast in Revelation, we have a playlist on the first beast, Revelation 13. The first video there is the 10 kings and 10 horns. Now, I'll preface this at the end of that video. I linked another channel which talked about the 10 horns being, you know, over the whole earth as 10 kingdoms, right? Well, we might be looking at a different scenario where the son of perdition rules from Jerusalem, and that's what's happening with the Abraham Accords, is that there will be 10 kings that give their power, okay, to him for an hour, etc., leading to Armageddon. And that's starting to play out quite well because they're forming that alliance against the Russian, Persian, Turkish alliance, okay? So that's like an Armageddon type scenario. So that video, definitely watch 10 Horns, 10 Kings, as well as this is part of our playlist, of course, on Donald Trump is the Antichrist, okay? So that we'll be patient throughout this whole thing. I'm just addressing this at the end of this video because of all the comments that'll come. So, but we'll continue with the message. We continue on what God has called us to. And, you know, we're not moved by, you know, the things happening in this world, guys. Please don't, you know, have any trust in any country or any kingdom or any man on the earth. You can see the Most High said, you know, I will be your king. But they rejected him and they said, give us a king, give us princes. So that's what's happening in election time. Give us princes, give us, you know, give us Senate. So guys, thanks for watching. And as we say, all glory and honor to the Lamb to allow us to live in this marvelous day. So let us fear God. Let us give glory to him. For we are now in the hour of his judgment. And let us worship him that made the heavens, the earth, the seas, and the fountains of waters.